will start in a few minutes because we're expecting more participants to sign in. Thanks for your patience. So Arabic, is it okay that we start? I think now I can see 21 participants here.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, sounds good. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today's Your Voice Matters webinar. My name is Teresa Lian. I'm the Civic Education Facilitator of Immigrant Services Calgary. I started to volunteer for CLIP Social Capital Working Group 2 years ago. I'll be the facilitator for today's program. And here are a few housekeeping reminders. Today's event will be recorded. So for the reminder, please keep your microphone on mute. You can see the sign. And also please keep your camera turned off. No abusive language will be tolerated. And please do not put any personal information in the chat box. So you can find the bubble here. And in today's event, we will have a Q&A session. So please save any questions for the end of the workshop or type them in the chat box. And at the end of the session, an evaluation link will be sent to you. So we appreciate your feedback and ensure a better quality service. Thank you. And now we would like to start this event with a land acknowledgement by watching a video prepared by the Calgary Public Library. It tells why it is important to do land acknowledgement.
Sorry, just give me a second.
Thank you, Arabic.
Hi, my name is Henry Drew, and I am a staff here at the Calgary Public Library. I work at Central, and I've been asked to do a little video to help educate people on land acknowledgements. So as you can see, my little friend here, Charlie was asking about land acknowledgements, so I thought this would be a great way to show Charlie the land acknowledgement, but also to show our friends and to talk about why a land acknowledgement is important. So I am from Treaty 8. I am Woodland Cree. My reserve is Driftball First Nations, and I am a visitor here in Treaty 7. So one of the reasons why land acknowledgements are so important is because in a way, we are giving back a sense of identity by honoring the original caretakers of the land that you're in. So I challenge everybody who is not from Calgary to find out where they're from and who are the original caretakers of that land. So here in Calgary, Treaty 7, Blackfoot Confederacy, this is Blackfoot territory. So we acknowledge our Blackfoot friends. So I'll go through it once and then I'll do it for you. So it's kind of, so we start with our 7 fingers because we are in Treaty 7. So today we acknowledge our Treaty 7 friends. So this is sign language for friends. Where the Blackfoot meets at Elbows Bend, soon came the Sutana, from the beaver clan, and that's the beaver's tail for people that are wondering what that means. And then the Iskya and Nakota in the mountain lands. Last but not least, so we do the infinity sign because that is the symbol on the Métis flag. Last but not least, Métis people from Region 3. Together, we're all treaty people here in Calgary. So see how fun that was and interactive? So we're going to do it again. This time, I'm not going to pause. I'll go through it right from beginning to end. And I hope that you guys are practicing with me and you could always replay it and do it again. So when you come to story time at the library, you'll be able to do it. Okay, so let's get started. Today, we acknowledge our Treaty 7 friends, where the Blackfoot meets at Elbows Bend. Soon came the Sutana from the Beaver Clan and the Iskya Nakota in the mountain lands. Last but not least, Métis people from Region 3. Together, we're all treaty people here in Calgary. I hope Charlie liked that. Thanks.
Thank you, Aravic. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Okay, so now today for our event, we have speakers and engagement activities planned to help increase your knowledge of civic affairs, the 2021 municipal election, and learn how to increase your civic engagement. But first, I would like to quickly introduce CLIP, who put together this event along with its community partners. CLIP stands for the Calgary Local Immigration Partnership that is funded by the federal government's Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. Its goal is to make Calgary a welcoming place for newcomers. To find out more about CLIP, please visit www.calgarylip.ca to see how you can participate. Email us at clip@calgary.ca with your questions. The Newcomer Civic Engagement Action Group is one of the 5 working groups in CLIP, which focuses on building a sense of community and belongings through fostering meaningful relationships. This committee is comprised of representatives from all the major settlement agencies in Calgary, as well as community organizations, such as Calgary Immigrant Women's Association, Calgary Catholic Immigration Society, the Immigrant Education Society, Center for Newcomers, Immigrant Services Calgary, Calgary Public Library, and Calgary Bridge Foundation for Youth. Now, we will get started with some engagement activities. I'll pass the floor on to one of our committee members, Lily Tsai, to facilitate a game called Is It Municipal? Let's welcome Lily.
Thank you, Teresa. Let me share my screen. Hi, everyone. So my name is Lily, and I am a member of the working group. And the objective, I'd like to play a little game with you today. The objective of this game is to have a discussion about the roles and responsibilities, about the different orders of government. I will be sharing my screen and reading out a situation. You have to guess whether that situation is municipal, provincial, or federal. So you can type in 1 for municipal, 2 for provincial, and 3 for federal. I will give you 30 seconds to share your answers in the chat. Teresa will help me out by reading your answers in the chat, and then I will share the correct answer. Please feel free to ask questions when we're discussing the answers. Does anyone have any questions? Is that clear? All right, thank you. So, is it municipal? Situation number 1, snow clearing on Deerfoot Trail. So put down 1 for municipal, 2 for provincial, and 3 for federal. I will give you 30 seconds.
I saw answers from 1, 1, 2, 1. Also 1. And a 2. And 2 ones.
Mm-hmm. All right. Is that all the answers? We still have 8 seconds. Get your answers in.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
Another
you.
one.
Yeah, another one?
Yeah, another one.
All right. So that's 30 seconds. Thank you. So lots of ones, lots of twos. And the answer is provincial. So snow clearing on Deerfoot is a provincial responsibility because Deerfoot Trail is a provincial road. Typically, snow clearing is municipal, so except for this road.
Okay.
So second question, my neighborhood needs a crosswalk. So 1 for municipal, 2 for provincial, and 3 for federal.
So I see 1. Yeah. So far, I got 4. 1.
All right, 3-second countdown. All right, so the answer is municipal. So you're all right. If you want to add a crosswalk to your neighborhood, contact 311 or your counselor. There is a warrant process and a pedestrian corridor study, but first you have to meet the threshold. So there's a process, but 311 is the number to contact. So question number 3. Someone wants to put a liquor store across from my school. Who do I talk to? And assuming the answer, the part of the question is who do I talk to if I don't want the store there? So 1 for municipal, 2 for provincial, and 3 for federal.
I got the first 3 answers, 4 answers. They're all 1. Okay,
All 1.
Continue. Yeah, 1.
Great. Is that all the answers?
Yeah, so far.
Okay.
Everyone's answer is 1.
All right, so let's review the answer. So the answer is municipal, so everyone is correct. So if you want to share your opinion about the liquor store, talk to your counselor. And if there's a land use change in your neighborhood, your counselor will know the details or who to talk to get the details. Bylaws for the city also exist about locations, proximity to schools, etc. And also rules exist for public behavior and public good. All right, question number 4. I am waiting to hear back on my permanent residence status. Is this 1, municipal, 2, provincial, or 3, federal issue?
Okay, I saw the answers are 3. Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. Yep, so far all the answers are 3.
All right. So the answer is a federal jurisdiction, and specifically IRCC. Okay, question number 5. So drivers are always speeding through the school zone in my neighborhood. Who can stop this? Who do you talk to? 1 for municipal, 2 for provincial, and 3 for federal.
Wow, quick answer. 1, 3, 1, and 1, 2. And continue with ones.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. So you guys are getting the hang of it. So the answer is municipal. So Calgary Police Service local school. A traffic service request can be initiated with the Calgary Police, and a good conversation to have at the local school with the parents for the school zone. All right, question number 6. How many, so many cars are parked in front of my house. I think we need parking restrictions, so parking permits for residents. Is this a 1, municipal issue, 2, provincial, or 3, federal?
1, start with 1. Yep. Yes, all the answers so far are 1.
All right. I think it's 1 too. Let's see. So the answer is municipal. So again, contact your counselor or your or 311. That's the easiest route. They'll put you in touch with the right people. There is a process in which your neighbors will also be involved. And that brings us to the end of the exercise. Thank you so much for participating. Thank you, Aravik. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you, Lily. So I hope you enjoyed the game. And next, I will introduce another committee member, Froman Benson, who will facilitate the Municipal Election Quiz. Let's welcome Froman.
Good morning, everyone. Like Teresa mentioned, we have prepared the short quiz about municipal election, and this is a Cohort Quiz. And my name again is Froman Bensing, and I am a member of this CLIP Action Group, and I work with the Calgary Bridge Foundation for Youth as a senior worker. I'm just wondering if you see my screen right now.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So let's start by typing www.cohort.it in your mobile device, like a web browser. This game is better if we can use our cell phone. If you don't have a cell phone, you can use your laptop or computer as well. And also, I will be typing the instruction at the chat board here. So let's go back to the instruction. So type www.cohort.it, enter the game pin number. It's 8963076. Type your name and click go button. So we have 2 players already. So I'm sharing my screen and I will read out each question and options, and of course there's answer choices in there, and then just follow along on the screen and select the answers of your choice corresponding to the button with same color as your answer choice. You will have 30 seconds to provide your answer. Participants that send in the correct answer quickly will get higher points. So this is about accuracy and also speed, right? At the end of 5 questions, the top 3 players will be displayed on the screen, and they will be receiving a gift items from our agency, and we can start the game as we wait for other players to come. So we have 10 already. Maybe we'll wait for a minute more or 30 seconds more. Okay, I think we can start. Is it okay to start? Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, we can start now. So the first question is, when is the upcoming municipal election? Is it red, Thursday, April 1st, 2021, or blue, Monday, October the 18th, 2021, or yellow, Saturday, December 25th, 2021, or green, Wednesday, June 16th, 2021? We have 6 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so 8 got the correct answer. It's Monday, October the 18th, 2021. So let's proceed to the next question. And GI got the highest points with 870. Question number 2. Who can vote in the Calgary municipal election? Is it red, anyone over 18, blue, Canadian citizens over 18 living in Alberta, or yellow, Canadian citizens 18 years old, Alberta residents on election day and 6 months prior, or green, Canadian citizens and permanent residents over 18? We have 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. So the correct answer is yellow, Canadian citizens 18 years old, Alberta residents on election day and at least 6 months prior. So we have a new leader on the board. It's LM with 1,281 points. Next. Third question is, who do you elect in the Calgary municipal election? Is it red, Mayor of Calgary and Alberta Premier, or blue, Mayor and Councillors of Calgary and surrounding areas, or yellow, Mayor, Councillors and School Board Trustees, or green, Mayor of Calgary and surrounding areas? We have 10 seconds left. So the correct answer is yellow, Mayor, Councillors and School Board Trustees. Aldos is the leader in the board now with 1,822 points. So let's proceed to the next question. Number 4, where can you cast your vote? Is it red, my children's school, or blue, advanced voting stations, designated voting station, or by special ballot, or yellow, City Hall, or green, Calgary Public Library? We have 10 seconds left. The correct answer is blue, advanced voting stations, designated voting station, or by special ballot. So Aldo is still the leader on the board with 2,554 points. This is the last question. What do I need to bring to a voting station? Is it red, my children and family, or blue, my property registration documents, or yellow, my pets registration documents, or green, government issued documents, ID documents, or other listed elections Calgary documents? So we have green, the correct answer. It's government issued documents, ID documents, or other listed by Elections Calgary. So we have the top 3 scorer, GI on 3rd place, LM on the 2nd place, and DT on the 1st place. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you very much. We will be sending in the prize to you after this.
Thank you, Froman. Wow, good game. And congrats to DT. Okay, now we will have Leigh Molina, our committee member, who will provide the instructions for the bingo game.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lei, and I volunteer with CLIP and other immigrant serving agencies as well. So at this time, we ask that you all open the bingo card that came in through the meeting invitation email for this event. I will quickly share my screen so you can see it. Okay. There you go. So this is what the bingo card that you should have received in the meeting invitation. So what you will do is you will use the highlighter under home button right here. And you will click on the highlight button. Of course, you choose whatever color you like. And whenever you hear a word and see it in the card, you click on the highlight button and highlight that word. For example, you heard mayor. So you're going to highlight that. Or you heard nomination, so you're going to highlight that as well. And make sure that you save your file, save as, and put your name right after the name of the document and save. I would suggest saving it in your desktop so it's easier to find, and hit save. So as we go along the presentation with the speaker later on, as you hear words, just quickly highlight those words, and whoever has the most highlights in their card will win a prize. Don't forget as well to send your bingo card to CLIP. Here's the email. It's clip@calgary.ca. I understand some of you are not using their computer or just using their phone to join this webinar. So what you can do is you can screenshot the one that you've received in the email and then treat it as a photo, scribble it, edit, and encircle however you like to mark the words. And then save the photo and send it to clip@calgary.ca. So yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys learn a lot in these presentations.
Thank you, Lei. Now, I would like to introduce Janine Dryden from the City Clerk's Office, who will provide an introduction on the city processes and present on the 2021 municipal election. As we mentioned in the housekeeping, we will have a Q&A after all the presentations. Please type your questions in the chat box. Without further ado, let's welcome Janine.
Hi, everyone. My name is Janine Dryden. I'm the leader of operations with Elections Calgary. Next slide, please. So today we're going to go over a few different topics. We will be talking about why it's important to vote, what you can expect on the ballot this year, what type of voting opportunities you're going to have and what you're going to need to bring with you, some COVID safety information, what you can expect in the voting station, what you can learn about your candidates, what work opportunities there are, and a little bit about if you're interested in becoming a candidate, and then we'll have some time for questions and answers. Next slide, please. So why is it important to vote? So voting is an important right for all Canadian citizens. It helps connect citizens with the political process and with each other. When you vote, you're helping shape the direction that the city is going to take. It also helps you express your views and you make democracy work. The members of council that you elect are the ones that set priorities and the direction for the city, and they make decisions on behalf of the people that they represent. So it's important to vote in a municipal election because your local council has the largest impact on your day-to-day life. They have impacts on things like your transit, your parks, recreation, waste collection, police, and fire. Next slide, please. So what can you expect to see on the ballot this year? So in a normal general election, you will see be able to vote for your mayor, your councillors, and your school board trustees. This year, we also know that there's going to be some questions on the ballot. You may have already heard about this. One question that they've already confirmed will be a question about whether or not we put fluoride in the water. As well, this year, we are expecting a Senate election, which is a provincial election, and potentially some provincial referendum questions. So there'll be more questions that'll appear on the ballot. Next slide, please. So ward boundaries. I'm not sure if you're familiar with ward boundaries, but we have 14 of them in Calgary. Every ward will elect a councillor that represents them. This year, there are some minor changes in the ward boundaries, and they come into effect on election day. So why that's important for you to understand is because which ward you're in will depend on what names are going to appear on your ballot. The boundaries that'll be used for the names appearing on the ballot will be the new ward boundaries. You can go to our website at electionscalgary.ca and you can enter your address and it'll tell you what ward you're in. So for the 2021 general election, there are many voting opportunities. We recommend that you make a plan and choose how and when you will vote. You can only vote once. So currently, we will have a mail-in ballot. The request will open in August. And currently there are restrictions on who can request a mail-in ballot. So that means you can only request a mail-in ballot if you are physically unable to go to a voting station, if you're working at a voting station on election day, or if you are traveling outside of the city on election day. During the advance vote, we will have a variety of locations and hours across the city, and you can vote at any advance location. But on election day, you have to vote at your designated voting station. So the voting stations are typically located in different facilities. The most common facilities you'll see are schools, places of worship, and community centers. But you may also see some other facilities like libraries or recreation centers. The full list of voting stations will be available on our website in September, and you'll also see a brochure that gets mailed to every household in either late September or early October. And there's a little picture of it on the screen, so you know what to expect. Next slide. So who can vote? So you can vote if on election day you are at least 18 years old, are a Canadian citizen, are a resident on election day of the City of Calgary to vote for mayor, of your ward to vote for councillor, and then the school jurisdiction to vote for your school board trustee, and you must provide one of the authorized pieces of ID. So you do have to bring some ID with you. Here are some of the accepted forms of ID. You do not need photo ID. The purpose of the ID is to show your name and current address. This will help the workers find you on the voters list, or if you're not on the list, your ID will give them the information they need to complete a voter register form. So there are many different types of documents that you can bring as on the screen, but again, it does not have to be picture ID. Next slide. So COVID-19 safety. Safety is a priority for both workers and for voters. We will be following all of the current health guidelines from the province and the city in our voting stations. Currently, we're planning to operate under the same rules that you see at grocery stores today. So that includes masks, spacing, and the use of hand sanitizer. We ask that you please watch for any additional information about COVID safety in the election guide, on our website, or when you get to the voting station. You may also experience longer lines if there's restrictions on how many people can be inside a voting station at one time, so we ask that you be patient. And you may also want to consider voting during the advance vote just to avoid the lines on election day. Historically, election day is our busiest time, and the busiest times on election day are between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. So how to vote. This is what you can expect when you're going to a voting station. So you can expect to be greeted at the door by one of our staff. They will give you any information on any COVID safety rules, and they'll direct you to the voting station room. When you arrive in the voting station room, you'll need to confirm who you are. So you'll show your ID to the deputy returning officer. You'll need to tell them what ballot type you want to receive, whether it's a public school board or Catholic school board ballot. If you're not already on the voters list, you'll need to complete a voter register form, and then you'll get your ballot. Next, you'll go to a privacy booth to mark your ballot. Follow the instructions that are on the ballot on how to mark it. And you mark your choice for the candidates and questions on the ballot. Every voter has the right to secrecy on how they vote, and the privacy booth will prevent anyone from seeing you mark your ballot. Last, you'll bring your ballot to the tabulator clerk. So tabulator is the machine that will scan and record your vote. The tabulator clerk will run the ballot through the tabulator, and then it'll drop into the ballot box. And then you're done. Next slide, please. Know your candidates. So who will be on your ballot? So candidates can file nomination papers and become candidates anytime between January 4th and September 20th at noon. So the final list of candidates will be available on our website by September 22nd, 2021. You can visit our website, electionscalgary.ca, for an ongoing list of candidates. We will have the full candidate profiles and videos on our website in the summer, but remember to check back after September 22nd for the final list of candidates to know who's going to be on your ballot. Working opportunities. So here are some of the positions we will be hiring for the election. We'll be hiring over 3,000 workers for the advance vote and election day. You do not have to be a Canadian citizen to work the election, but you must be at least 16 years old. Training is provided for every position. Please check back at our website, electionscalgary.ca, starting in August for more details on how to apply to be a worker. So becoming a candidate. For anyone who might be interested in running for one of the positions, to run for office, you do have to be eligible to vote, which we did cover earlier. You have to reside in Calgary or in the school district for 6 consecutive months before nomination day. And nomination day is September 20th, so that means you'd have to be living within Calgary by March 20th. You do not have to be a resident in the ward that you want to represent. And separate school trustees should also review some additional requirements in the Education Act. So if you are interested in becoming a candidate, we do ask that you visit our website for more information, electionscalgary.ca, and we have a ton of information on becoming a candidate available there. And is there any questions? And we do have our contact information up. So if you do have any additional questions that you think of later, feel free to write that down and reach out to us at any time.
Thank you, Janine, for the presentation. It's very informative. And also we learn about the job opportunities. Okay, yeah. So please type your questions in the chat box. Feel free to do that. Okay. And next, I would like to introduce our next guest speaker, Pooja Kaur from Communications City of Calgary, who will be speaking about reaching new audiences for the 2021 municipal election. Let's welcome Pooja.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. So my job with the election is to communicate about the election. So that means sharing information similar to what Janine just presented to you. So that's letting people know about when to vote, where to vote, what's on the ballot, how to vote, and how to find out who is running in your ward. It is not our job to tell you who to vote for. That is entirely up to you, but we try and provide the tools and resources to let you know how you can get that information. So part of sharing this information includes getting that out to as many people as possible. So some of the ways that we already plan to do that is mailing information out to all of the homes, condominiums, apartments, places of residence. We'll have a couple of mailings that will come out starting from the summer up until mid-October early October to let you know all of that pertinent voting information. We also do things like put ads in newspapers. We work with the local media to get information on the news, and we put in information in community centers, community association newsletters, and a few different community groups to share that voter information with more people. Now, part of my goal as the communications planner is to reach as many of Calgary's diverse populations as possible. So we have a number of ethnic media sources that we already work with. We do look at translating some of that important voter information and working with partners like CLIP to share information about the election through our various stakeholders. But one of the things that we want to do is actually hear from people directly about how they can receive information. What are some of the challenges that you might face when getting information from the city, and how can we do a better job of that? So generally, my role here is actually just to ask you guys, either you can share your comments in the chat box directly, or you can send information to CLIP if an idea comes to you later on to find out if there are ways that we can better reach you. So are there newspapers that you generally look to get information? Do you have a preference for information to be presented in English or maybe translated in another language? One of the things that we've been looking at too is having translated copies of the materials on our website, but it's also, you know, there's a lot of cool new tech and tools that are out there that allow people to just translate their web browser directly into different languages. So are those things that generally work for you? And that kind of is the best approach. So this is really just an opportunity for me to share a little bit about what we already do, but to hear from you folks directly to see if there are ways that we can improve the way we're reaching the different populations in Calgary. So I'm going to leave it at that. Please feel free to put your suggestions in the chat box, or of course, send some ideas to CLIP later, and I know I can get that information from them directly. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Pooja, for sharing the information and your thoughts about the 2021 municipal election. Next, I would like to introduce Samantha Baudet, the CLIP coordinator, who will be speaking about the importance of newcomer civic engagement. Let's welcome Sam.
Thanks, Teresa. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about my own experience of voting and why I think it matters and why I think you should think that it matters. So I became a Canadian citizen at 18 because I wanted to vote. And since then, I've only missed a couple of elections because I was out of the country. But this is actually the first time that I've ever voted in a municipal election in Calgary. I voted municipally in other parts of Canada, but I just moved back to Calgary 2 years ago. So I am really quite excited about this municipal election. I actually love the whole process of voting. And I think part of the reason is because, like you, for me, it was a very conscious decision to become a Canadian citizen. So it's a responsibility that I take seriously. I also feel like I'm carrying a debt to those who came before me, who fought so hard for women to get the vote. And for those around the world who are literally putting their lives on the line right now to fight for their right to live in a democratic society. To not vote when I have the opportunity feels almost disrespectful to everything that they're fighting for and people are dying for right now. We like to think that in Canada we have a long and equitable democratic history, but the truth is a little bit darker. Many people have had to fight for the right to vote in Canada on the streets and in courtrooms. Women in Canada got the right to vote in 1918, but they were not considered legal persons until 1928. And in Quebec, women could not vote in provincial elections until 1940. But this was not all women. Chinese Canadians did not get the right to vote in Canada until 1947. For Japanese Canadians, it was 1949. For Indigenous peoples in Canada, the Inuit could not vote in federal elections until 1950. And for First Nations living on reserve, like the Tsuut'ina, the Siksika, the Kainai, it was 1960 before they were granted the right to vote in federal elections without having to give up their treaty rights. Statistics Canada regularly asks Canadians questions about their voting behavior, and we don't all vote, unfortunately. Not everybody is as much of a keener on this as I am. On average, about 60 to 70% of eligible voters actually vote in federal elections. The numbers are a bit lower at the provincial level and lower still at the municipal level, which I always find a bit odd because, as you heard Janine say from City Clerk's office, municipal affairs are actually what affects people the most on a day-to-day level. Who leads at the city has a direct impact on our roads, our parks, libraries, electricity, water, sewage, and whether you're allowed to build a shed in your backyard. To me, it makes actually much more sense to want to be involved in local elections if you had to choose. But of course, you don't actually have to choose. You should be engaged at all levels. We know that new Canadians tend to have lower levels of voting, and that's for a number of different reasons that they themselves have identified. For some, they may come from a country where elections are just not the norm. They may have higher levels of distrust in politicians and government institutions, and so they don't see the point. They may not understand how the election system works in Canada, and information about elections may not be available in languages other than English or French, or they just might be too busy with setting up a new life in Canada and they just don't have the time to engage in the process. We also know, though, that the longer that immigrants are in Canada, the more likely they are to vote. We want to make sure that all of you don't wait 10 years to vote for the first time in Canada. We want you to exercise your right to vote as soon as you can. You've heard from city clerks how to find out if you're eligible to vote. And as you heard, voting is actually very simple and very quick. I've only ever waited in line once or twice to vote. Most of the time it's about a 10 or 15-minute process. And I have to tell you, it feels really empowering and it feels like you're part of something bigger. Even if, like me, your candidate very rarely actually gets elected. You often see your neighbors at the polling station. People bring their kids, they bring their dogs, they come on their bikes, they stop off on their afternoon walk. And again, polling stations are local, they're in your community, so it's easy to access them. So again, why should you vote? Because your voice matters, because you are part of this community and you have a say in how you want the community to be run. If you're concerned about traffic in your neighborhood or how often the snow is removed, if you think Calgary needs to invest more in fighting climate change, or you definitely think Calgary should not invest more in fighting climate change, then check out who's running in your ward for this election, ask questions, share your ideas about how to make your community even better. And you don't have to be a Canadian citizen to engage with your councillor. Anybody can do that. Make an informed decision about who you might vote for in this election. And if you can't vote this time, still get involved. You can even work the election. You never know, it might be your name that's on the ballot in a few years. So thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Sam, for sharing your thoughts about why it is important to enhance the newcomers' civic engagement. Now, I'll pass the floor to Lei to facilitate the Q&A portion. So please feel free to type your questions in the chat box.
Thanks, Teresa. We have a couple of questions here. I guess the first one, and it has been asked twice, if we can get a presentation from a copy of the presentation slides from Janine. Yeah, I guess it will be a useful information for them, kind of like a handy information that they can have. Can we, do we know if we can get a copy of the slides from Janine?
This is Janine. Yeah, we can provide a copy of the slides, and I believe the session is recorded as well, so I don't know if that would also be available.
Right, perfect. Thanks, Janine. We can coordinate that and send through the copy of the slides. And as Janine mentioned, this webinar is recorded, and so you can watch it again and just forward to the parts where you need more information on. And also, Janine has provided a lot of useful resources, such as the websites for the Calgary elections. You can check that out as well, so you can get more information through the website. And then another question that we have in the chat is if there are available election information in other languages, such as in Chinese or maybe in Punjabi or Filipino or Tagalog or any other languages.
Yes, so we will be translating all of the pertinent voter information into a few different languages. We haven't done that yet just because we're still finalizing a lot of the details, and we're still, we want to make sure everything is 100% before we translate. But yes, we will share that information. It'll be on the website.
Okay.
Or in some of our materials that go out, we'll have some translation letting people know where the translated materials will be.
Awesome. Thanks, Pooja. Okay, as Pooja mentioned, let's watch out for that translated materials in the website. Everything is really online nowadays, so we have to check in back and forth, maybe closer to the elections date when the information is available. And then we have another question here in the chat. If we request for mail-in ballot, I guess this will be for Janine. If we request for mail-in ballot, what do we need, or if we even need to provide any documentation to show that we cannot go to the election station on the election day? Or do we just kind of like request that online?
Yep, so you will request your mail-in package online, and when you request it, as well as when you're completing it, you will indicate that you meet the requirements to vote by mail-in. So you will a statement that you meet those requirements. So there's no, you don't have to provide proof, but it is an offense to sign a false statement. So you do need to actually meet those requirements, and you'll be signing something that that says you do.
Sounds good. And also maybe to just follow up for that question regarding attending the elections on the election day itself, is it allowed that we bring our family with us? I know some people are single parent and they don't have anybody to take care of their children. Will they be allowed to bring their kids or their family?
Yes, you are allowed to bring your family. Depending on what's happening with COVID, that might be just something if it's at all possible, you know, to just reduce the numbers. But typically, we do encourage it because we want to promote democracy, and kids definitely learn by seeing what their parents are doing. So it's always good for kids to see their parents voting. And just note that if you are going, say, with your spouse or significant other, they do ask you that when you go to vote behind the secrecy booth that you do go alone. But you can bring your kids with you.
Sounds good. Awesome. That's good to know. We also have another question here about the eligibility. So Janine, if you can answer this one as well. Can we be considered as Canadian citizen and be allowed to vote if our Canadian citizenship is still pending with IRCC, or if we have passed the citizenship exam but we have not received our Canadian identification yet?
So my understanding of the citizenship process, and I might not know the full thing, but it can't be pending. It does have to be passed. I believe that there is a ceremony where you go and you do your oath. So you might want to just check with the immigration services on when you officially become a citizen. But as we talked about the ID requirements, you don't provide proof of citizenship. You provide your ID with just your name and your address on it. So once you are officially a citizen, you can go and vote.
Sounds good. Awesome. Okay. I guess that's all of the questions that we have, but feel free to type in the chat if you have more questions, but that's everything from me. Theresa, do you want to take over the floor?
Sure. Thank you, Lei. Thanks for facilitating the Q&A. Okay, so last but not least, let me introduce Aravic, the CLIP community liaison. She is going to share a few updates from CLIP. Let's welcome Aravic.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. And this session was very informative for me as well, even though I have been a Canadian citizen for a few years now and I have participated in the municipal election in the past. It's always good to learn these new information, especially now with COVID and all the changes that are taking place. So really appreciate that. I would like to just do a quick thank you to all of the committee members for organizing this and all of the speakers for your wonderful knowledge. And I'm just going to provide a few updates from CLIP that our attendees might be interested in. As you may know from social media or from having this information be sent to you by mail on a postcard, CLIP has launched its newcomer survey, and we launched on March 5th. We're asking newcomers who have recently arrived to Calgary within the past 5 years to share their experiences as they made Calgary their home. We would like to know who or what helped you settle into life in Calgary. CLIP works with community partners to build more welcoming communities for immigrants to Calgary. So we would like to know what supports you received when you first arrived and how satisfied you were with those services. To complete the survey, you must be 18 years of age or older, a resident of Calgary, born outside of Canada, and have lived in Canada for 5 years or less. The survey will take approximately 10 to 15 minutes to complete. Responses to the survey are confidential. Individual responses will not be released, shared, or published. At the end of the survey, however, you will be asked to provide your email address if you would like to be entered into a draw to win one of 10 $50 gift cards. That's definitely optional. The survey is also available in 14 different languages, which is, as you can see on the screen, Amharic, Arabic, Chinese, both simplified and traditional, Farsi, Filipino, French, Punjabi, Spanish, Tigrinya, Urdu, Vietnamese, and Yoruba. And we try to make it more accessible for various ethnocultural groups. You can actually scan the barcode on your screen right now and complete the survey, or you can do it later on after this. We will also share this survey link in a follow-up email after this event. So then feel free to complete the survey. Also share it with your community members. If you belong to an ethnocultural group, please feel free to share with the members of that group as well. We are also, aside from the survey, in relation to this specific event, we are also putting together, or hoping to put together, a few more events related to increasing newcomer or immigrant civic engagement leading up to the municipal election. We wanted to provide introductory knowledge in this session, and then moving on with the other sessions, we hope to put together activities where we can apply some of that knowledge and have participants practice the voting protocols and things like that. So if you're interested with that, please stay tuned with CLIP. And in order to stay updated with CLIP, you can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on Instagram, and also our webpage. And another thing is, we would love to hear your feedback for today's event. And the reason for that is this is a pilot event, and we really want to know whether we filled a gap in the services that you're being provided, if we've answered some questions that were helpful for you, or and if this was necessary so that we continue on. So again, in the follow-up email, I will provide all of the information that I talked about along with the survey link so that we can hear from you. So thank you so much for joining today. Please look out for my email with all of the necessary information, the links, the presentation, so that you can access the necessary information. And please connect with us if you have any other questions. So thank you so much. And I will turn back to Teresa just to say final thank yous, and we can end for today.
Thank you, Aravic. Well, yes, thank you everyone for joining today's Your Voice Matters event. So we really look forward to receiving your bingo cards. And also, and tonight we'll have the evening session, so you can feel free to spread this news to your acquaintance, to your contacts. So once again, thank you so much for all of our guest speakers today and all the committee members. And without your great support, this event will not happen. Thank you so much and have a great day, everyone.